So today we're going to talk about volume, and we're going to do some drawing lessons, and we're going to get some vocabulary. So first, in class we have been investigating what volume is. So we have been using snap cubes and building things and looking at what fits inside something. So I'd like you to write down a few words, and when I check your video notes tomorrow, you should have a good definition or some words about what volume is. So I want you to write down everything you know about volume. And tomorrow I'm going to check it. So pause the video and write down the facts that you know about volume. Okay. So now we're going to talk about what a rectangular prism is, because you're going to see this word quite often, and we're going to use it a lot when we talk about volume. Rectangular prism is three-dimensional. So what does three-dimensional mean? Three-dimensional. Sometimes we write that as 3D. So that means it has a length. It has a width, and it has a height. Now, we could debate for a long time which side is length and which side is width, and which side is height. Sometimes they don't really matter, but sometimes it does. So, but when I'm trying to find the volume, it doesn't really matter which one is which. So we could debate both points of that. But so a rectangular prism is three-dimensional because it has a length, a width, and a height. We're going to talk some more about that when we draw items in a few minutes. But we also know that this figure has six. Oops, my pencil's running out here. Flat sides that meet at 90-degree angles. So it's three-dimensional. It's a length, a width, and a height, and it has six flat, I'm going to put sides instead of sided, sides that meet at 90-degree angles. So let's have a little drawing lesson, and let's talk about how to draw them. Okay, so a good way to start is to draw a box, a rectangle, draw a rectangle. Okay, I'm going to draw the same exact rectangle, but I'm going to draw it up and to the side a little bit. Oh my goodness, I do not do well with mechanical pencils. So I'm going to try to draw the same exact side, same exact rectangle, but up and over. And then I'm going to try to connect top left corners, connect the bottom left corners, bottom right corners. Okay, so now I have a three-dimensional figure that is a rectangular prism. It has six flat sides. 1, 2, 3. So let me start over. It has 4 around the edge, around the middle. 1, 2, the back side and the underside, and then 5 and 6 are on either side. So let's try it. Let's practice again. Draw a rectangle. Draw the same size rectangle up a little bit. Connect your corners. If you want to pause the video, you want to practice a few extra ones, that's okay. We can make the rectangles go in different directions. Okay. So the important thing that I want us to remember is, I already know because I know some of these students, that seeing things spatially, seeing things on maps, understanding things spatially is hard for some of you. So there's a key that we're going to use, and we're going to use 3 different colors. Okay? We're going to make one color go with the length, one color go with the width, so we make sure we find all 3 things, and one color go with the height. Okay? So I'm gonna find all the lengths. Length is usually the long side that's on the bottom. So this is the length, this is the length, this is the length. Length, long side on the bottom. Okay? Now I'm going to pick up my color for my width. So if you drew more rectangles, you could find the length of yours too. Width is usually the one that's on the bottom, but it's going back the other direction. So on flat drawings, it's usually the diagonal way. This is the width, the width, the width. Okay? So the length and the width are usually in the same piece of rectangle, and they're the flat ones that sit down in the bottom. So these form a layer at the bottom. So this forms the bottom area of our prism. Okay, so my third color, well, mine was purple, is the height. So height goes straight up and down. Okay, so I have a straight across, that's the length. I have a diagonal, that's the width. And I have a height that goes straight up and down. So I have a length, I have a width, and I have a height. A length, a width, and a height. So one more thing that we need to talk about. So when you do volume, there's a certain way that we write things. Okay? So if I'm measuring my volume, okay, if I'm measuring my volume in inches, so let's say my length I found was 2 inches. My width I found was 2 inches. And my height that I found was 2 inches. Okay, these are all inches. This is how I would write this. Okay, or I could say my length was 5 centimeters. My width was 6 centimeters. My height was 3 centimeters. This is how I write, and this is how I label. I have to have a measurement because I have to know if it's inches, centimeters, or feet. This is essential. Your problem will be considered wrong if you did not write this. Sometimes they're even called units. Sometimes they just call them units when we're working with a problem. So let's say my length was 4 units. My width was 1 unit. My height was 2 units. Okay, so how do we write volume? Okay, volume we write like this. 8 inches cubed. So I put a 3 up in the air. This is telling me it's 3-dimensional. It's telling me that I have 3 sets of inches. So my volume might be 90 centimeters cubed. I have to put this 3 up in the air, this exponent, because I have 3 dimensions of centimeters. My volume here, 8 units cubed. This 3 goes up in the air. You write it next to the word or the label of the measurement, and you put it up in the air. So we talked about how to label measurements. If it's 1 dimension, just the length, the width, or the height, you do not put any exponents because you just have 1 measurement. Volume has to be cubed, a 3 exponent that goes next to the measurement. We talked about how to draw them. We talked about we have a length that goes straight across, a width that goes diagonal, and a height that goes up and down. We're going to do a lot of these drawings on our pictures and a lot of these labels when we do our work. So this would be a good page in your notebook for you to go back and look at. I'm looking for these colors to be done. I'm looking for all these notes, and I'm interested tomorrow in reading what you wrote about volume.